This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Most automakers already lose money on every EV that they sell, and the push to electrification is projected to make their operations more inefficient, which will make turning a profit even harder. According to global data, the average plant in North America builds about 70% of the vehicles that it's capable of. A rule of thumb in the industry is that a plant becomes profitable right around 80% utilization. But that 70% is an improvement from the pandemic and chip shortage, which dragged it down to 61%. However, as the need to build more EVs rises, plant utilization is projected to drop to 65% by 2028 and keep going down to 63% by 2033. The problem is that some plants are only dedicated to building ICE or EV, so they won't be fully utilized. But some of that could be offset with an increase in sales. Global data forecasts that sales in the US will rise to 17 million units in the 2030s, which is a very healthy number. They haven't been that high since 2019, and it's a big increase from last year's 15.6 million. In April, reports came out that Mexico was holding off incentives for Chinese automakers to invest in the country under pressure from the US. But it looks like SAIC may have found a way around that. MG, a former iconic British brand now owned by SAIC, announced that it's going to build a plant and set up an R&D center in Mexico. It will use the facilities to expand into Latin America and the Caribbean, and says that IM, another brand under SAIC that makes premium EVs, will also enter the Mexican market. However, no word yet how much it's investing or when construction will start. And one reason Chinese automakers want to expand overseas is because sales in their home market continues to fall. According to the China Passenger Car Association, automakers sold a little over 1.7 million vehicles in July, a drop of 3.1% compared to last year. That decline came from gas and hybrid models. New energy vehicles, which includes PHEVs and BEVs, saw their sales jump 37% from last year and finally crossed the 50% market share milestone. July NEV sales also increased even more over June sales, which itself saw a year-over-year jump. Honda is going to start supplying Yamaha with electric motorcycles for Japan. Specifically, it will supply Yamaha with versions of its EM1 and Bentley models, which are powered by swappable battery packs. They're meant for both personal and business use and fit into Japan's Class 1 category, which is a vehicle with 2 or more wheels and an engine displacement of 50 cc or less, or an electric motor with 0.6 kilowatts or less, which is about 0.8 horsepower. No word yet on when they'll go on sale.
Intrepid's NeoVi Pi, allowing automotive engineers to interface, capture, and monitor vehicle data using Raspberry Pi. As a matter of fact, it's the automotive industry's first robust platform for Raspberry Pi, featuring Intrepid CAN-FD technology and Raspberry Pi compute module. The NeoVi Pi is designed for automotive environments, allowing use with relative power ranges and applications. In addition, the NeoVi Pi enables you to use the Raspberry Pi for compute while avoiding additional development to adapt to network environments. That makes the NeoVi Pi powerful enough to solve your vehicle network problems, yet small enough to fit in your backpack. One of many Intrepid tools used for developing zonal architecture and software-defined vehicles.
BMW CEO Oliver Zipse isn't happy with Europe's plan to allow ICE vehicles to run on synthetic fuel, or what are sometimes called e-fuels, after 2035. The EU originally planned to ban all ICEs in 2035, but it's considering an exemption for cars that run on e-fuels. BMW isn't necessarily against the exemption, but Zipse called it a bogus solution. He doesn't believe the EU is committed to the plan and says the government would need to provide funding to ramp up the use of e-fuels. Without the assistance, Zipse says the e-fuel exemption effectively remains an ICE ban, quote, through the back door. And we've heard similar concerns from other powertrain executives at car companies that say e-fuels will take too long to get to the market and will cost too much. And that's why ZIPSA is calling for help. And in other BMW news, the automaker just received an award for developing a lightweight and more sustainable car seat. Called the BMW M Visionary Material Seat, it features natural fibers, fiber composites, leather alternatives, and algae-based polymers. A new additive manufacturing process also allowed engineers to completely eliminate support structures, chemical post-treatment, and finishing. And thanks to the natural materials and manufacturing process, the seat's CO2e footprint is 90% lower than BMW's current carbon bucket seats. It's not clear if it will make it into production, but BMW says it will incorporate what it's learned into future processes. Dodge revealed pricing for the new Charger Daytona Electric. RT models that produce 496 horsepower and 404 pound-feet of torque start just over $61,500. And Scat Pack models that crank out 670 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque start just over $75,000. Both prices include destination charges and are for two-door models, which go into production this summer. And the models only qualify for the $7,500 federal tax credit when they're leased. Four-door models go into production in the first half of 2025, but we don't know their pricing yet. The Charger Daytona is equipped with a 100.5 kilowatt-hour battery pack and two electric drive modules at the front and rear. Each module produces 335 horsepower or 250 kilowatts and 300 pound-feet of torque. The first Charger Daytonas will arrive at dealerships in the fourth quarter of this year. We often hear complaints about the lack of EV charging stations, but for the ones that do exist, there's another big issue. They aren't accurately reporting their charging status. According to a study from Charger Help, a company that handles and maintains EV chargers, more than a quarter of stations either appear out of service when they're functional, showed up as functional but were not operating, or appeared to be in use when they were actually available. The study also found that chargers with payment issues were significantly more likely to be at stations that were down. The researchers recommended that station operators keep data accessible and that the industry needs to develop a way to accurately report uptime and to build more chargers. And don't forget to tune in to Autoline After Hours today. John is off, but co-host Gary Vasilash will get into the latest news with EVs, AVs, and ICEs. And Sam Abu-El-Samid from Guidehouse Insights and the Wheel Bearings podcast, Stephanie Brinley from S&P Global, and John Belt-Snyder from Autoblog will join us. And you can catch it all at 3 p.m. Eastern Time today. But that's it for this show, and I hope to see you later.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering boost your game. MEDC, where Michigan businesses are powering the future of mobility. And by Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility.
Trusting tires designed for the long haul. Because you'll always go the distance. For friends. That's what really matters. Bridgestone Alenza tires with an 80,000-mile limited warranty.
When we did our research for the talent that we need for this program, Michigan was really the top of the list. In order to be successful in this space, you really have to have the right people, the right mindset, the right environment.
There's nothing wrong with heavy metal.
Hey, lighten up.
But with world-class composite material, Teijin Automotive Technologies makes vehicles lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly.